The Trump tax cut is going to cut your utility bills in Delaware. We'll tell you how. And can Delaware become a right-to-work state? This is the Delaware Way. Welcome to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti. We're going to start with some good news. You're about to save some money, and it's all because of the Trump tax cuts. It's not a direct savings. It is a secondary savings in that your electricity bills will be going down. To talk more about that is the guy that started this whole thing, Public Advocate Andrew Slater. Congratulations. This is a great idea.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So tell me how this happened.
Yeah, so because of the Trump's tax cuts, which were signed on December 22nd of last year, the tax cut, the corporate tax was 35% and it was lowered to 21%. And that 14% difference is a really big deal for ratepayers. Whether it's electric, natural gas, or water, it's all regulated utilities.
Yeah, I said electricity. I realized. Yeah,
no,
you realize no, it's more than that.
It's all the utilities. So what will happen is they have to pay less corporate tax, and to the extent that they have to pay less corporate tax, their cost of service and their rates goes down. And so this petition says, we're going to reduce your rates, to the extent that there's savings. All of those savings need to go to customers because they paid the bill. So I used this quick analogy and I said, Wawa was offering $1 coffee. And I said, so if you walk into Wawa and you pay with a $20 bill for your $1 coffee, you don't expect Wawa to say, hey, we're going to keep your $19 for future services. They give you your $19 back. And similarly, with the personal income tax, when you file federal taxes, you get a refund. So while you wouldn't see a necessary refund, you would see a reduction in your rates, which would lower the cost of your bills.
Because as you pointed out, the federal tax went from 35 to 21%.
Yep.
For some companies, that's billions of dollars. That's a whole lot of money that they're saving, and many companies have said that we're going to reinvest it, we're going to hire more workers, we're going to give our workers an increase in salary. Mm-hmm. But with a public utility, they have another responsibility. I'm sure that was the crux of your argument.
That was. So a regulated utility is just different. If you have just a regular kind of corporate citizen, they will give bonuses to their employees. But a regulated utility is just a different beast because they have a regulated monopoly.
I know you worked for Governor Carney, but what was your official role in all of this?
Yeah, so as a public advocate, we advocate for the lowest reasonable utility rates consistent with the maintenance of adequate utility service. Our role in this was we have the ability to petition the Public Service Commission to open up. So there's a petition and then there's an order. And in this case, the commission agreed with our order 4-0 with one absent. But our role in this is to facilitate that dialogue and to ask the commission to consider our method, and they can consider other methods.
Which was a slam dunk, right, when you go there?
No, it's really not a slam dunk.
It made so much sense.
It did make sense, and actually we're really appreciative of the fact that it was a unanimous vote. But you can't take anything for granted. There are other ways that the money could have been spent. They could look at infrastructure investments, which then would give ratepayers would receive some of the benefit, but shareholders would receive the benefit. And I said shareholders shouldn't receive the benefit of an overcharge, being overcharged taxes. That really should just go back to those that paid the bill initially.
So even it was a slam dunk. You weren't sure it was going to be, but it ended up being a slam dunk with the commission. And then the legislature? Yeah,
the legislature really, that was fantastic. So Representative Kowalko and Representative Kim Williams had written a letter and asked their colleagues to consider signing on. And in total, there were 36 legislators that signed on to this bill in support of our petition. In addition, there were a dozen public comments, and typically we don't have a lot of public comments, if any, on our petitions and orders. And so in this case, it was really great because we had the legislature, the legislators that had individually weighed in, and then we had public comments saying, reduce rates. And I made the argument that according to the U.S. Census, 19% of Delaware households make less than $25,000 a year. And of all the people that call us with high bills that they can't pay, this reduction in the rates
Did you argue how much the cut should be? I mean, they get a 14% cut. Should they also reduce the rates 14%?
Yeah, they should reduce the rates to the extent that there are savings. So part of it is, part of the tax cut does raise cost. You have to consider the increase in cost as well as the reduction in cost, but overall there is a significant reduction.
So what's significant? How much the people watching now are going to be saving?
It'll be tens of millions of dollars.
Not an individual household.
Yeah, individual households, I can save tens of millions of dollars. I would love for that to happen. So we really don't know the actual number yet for how much you will save on a monthly bill, because we're still gathering the numbers. The utilities have until March 31st to come up with the numbers, and then it goes through a procedural schedule.
But in April, they should see it in their bills?
No, so it has to go through an evidentiary hearing.
Okay.
So it has to go through a hearing process similar to a rate case. So it'll be a little longer because you have to make sure that all the money is accounted for, and there's a process to go through that.
Well, that's good to hear. So the public utilities are all in on this. They're agreeing that they should be cutting rates?
Yes. The argument is where should that money go, was really the crux of the argument last week. But in Delmarva's case, as it is in Massachusetts, a utility was granted $12 million from their rate case. After the tax cuts, they actually had a rate reduction of $35 million. So Delmarva really, and actually Exelon's families all over the country are doing this.
So sometime next year, to sum this all up, sometime next year, in the beginning of next year?
Sometime this year.
Sometime this year.
Yeah, it'll happen this year.
Before the next winter comes around?
Yes. We can't say how much, we haven't seen all of the numbers yet. We've seen kind of preliminary numbers, but we have to get through all of the process and kind of looking at it. Because the Public Service Commission staff has to look at it, we look at it.
In all of these hurdles that you still have to go through, can it be diminished or go away?
No, because the only way it could go away is if the Commission grants a rehearing request on our order, which they had already approved. That's the only way it could go away, is if there's some contention and that the Commission would have to rehear the argument and rule against our petition.
That's good to hear. I always have a healthy skepticism that this is not really going to happen, but you sound pretty sure about this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you being here. Public Advocate Andrew Slater. The Delaware Way continues right after this.